Hello and welcome to the video. My name is Wade Daniel Smith, and this video is about why I quit Christianity and why I quit reading the Bible, even though I sometimes find some Bible passages true and useful, but they're getting to be fewer and farther between. Um, it really boils down to Numbers 23:19. God is not a man nor a son of man. All right. Uh, among other passages, there's a passage in Isaiah that says that there is one God, and God is speaking. Isaiah is speaking on behalf of God in the third person, and there is one God. There is no God before him. There is no Savior besides God, and there shall be no God after God. It says so that refutes the doctrine of the Trinity. There is no Savior sitting on the right hand of God. There is just God. God alone is your Savior. There is no God before God, and there shall be no God after God, which means God does not have a son, according to the Hebrews, anyway, which is a stark difference than the New Testament. In the New Testament, Jesus claims he came out from God, but then he claims to be God in the flesh, while simultaneously claiming to be the only begotten Son of God. So he's claiming that there's more than one God, isn't he? He has to be. That's what the Trinity is. You're claiming that there's three co equal gods. And Christians don't admit that they're claiming that there's three co-equal gods, but they are. Um, but Isaiah says there is one God, there is no God before him, and there is no God after him, and there's no Savior beside him. Whereas Paul in the New Testament claims that Jesus sat down on the right hand of God and that Jesus is your Savior beside God, contrary to the book of Isaiah. So for those two reasons, I quit Christianity, primarily the book of Numbers, though, because it flat out states that God is not a man nor a son of man. Jesus called himself the Son of Man 10 or 11 times in Matthew and Mark's gospel, but he called himself the Son of God in John's gospel. But Numbers 23:19, in case, because apparently has to be true prophecy, because this person knew there was somebody coming along claiming to be both God and the Son of Man at the same time, which would be Jesus. And he says God is not a man and God is not the Son of Man. So you can't have it both ways, Christians. And then Jude tried to deal with Balaam by claiming that Balaam was a false prophet, where the text Balaam never actually disobeyed God a single time in the story about Balaam. The angel told him what to say, and he said what the angel said. So, but I got to where I don't even read the Bible at all, because there's very little reliable in the Old Testament, and there's next to nothing reliable in the New Testament. The New Testament is a totally false prophecy and a totally false God. At least there are some true statements in Psalms and Proverbs that are objectively truthful. But I don't believe the book of Genesis. I think there might be one sentence in the book of Genesis that's true. In the beginning, God created. Other than that, the entire book of Genesis is a lie, too. There was never a great flood that covered the whole earth. There was never a Tower of Babel so tall that God destroyed us and feared man would become like God if he reached heaven by building a brick tower to heaven, which is nonsense. The God in the story was afraid that humans would become God by reaching heaven, which is completely foolish and nonsense. There's no such thing as a Tower of Babel. There's no such thing as Noah's flood. And for young Earth creationists, I've been to Louisiana State University, Department of Geography and Anthropology, and the Geology Department. I was a student there for 3.5 years. Um, and I've seen the fossil evidence that totally refutes young Earth creationism. The Earth is billions of years old, if not older. If anything, it's actually older than the scientists' official date. because the scientists at LSU actually want to claim that the Earth is between 6 and 8 billion years old, even though the official age that you see in encyclopedias and textbooks is 4.56 billion years. A lot of the scientists want to move it to 6 to 8 billion years based on computer simulations and other evidence. If anything, the Earth is older than they think it is. And they have the physical evidence to prove that it's at least 4.56 billion years old. So if you're just sticking your head in the sand and claiming that the Earth is between 6,000 and 10,000 years old, Swaggart family at Family Worship Center and other young Earth creationists, you're a liar. You're lying to yourself, and no lie is of the truth. Your own Bible tells you that. So stop lying to yourself and stop lying to your congregation. You're a deceiver. That's another reason I quit Christianity. I have yet to find a single church of any size anywhere on the earth where the goal is not to simply rob the congregation of 10 to 20% of their income. You can pray and sing songs and worship God and live for God and obey God without ever going to a freaking church. You don't need a church. It tells you in Isaiah, by the way, chapter 1, that God hates your solemn assemblies. And when you spread forth your hands and make many prayers, I will hide my eyes from you. Because you're lying to one another. And you're following a false religion and a false God.